I just finished the Traitors UK Season 4, Episode 10, and what an episode! Let's get to it. I did not expect that dagger pick at all. My guess was Steven or Roxy, so to pick James was like all over the place for me. I did not expect that. They did stick to their initial strategy of like framing Matt after murdering Jesse, so I give them that. But I'm not sure whether Rachel's logic made sense. Because Rachel said she was leaning into the idea that it would make Matt look like a traitor for giving Ross the dagger because she said Ross wouldn't think that Matt would banish him, which was kind of weird when Ross has already like kept like voting for Matt. But boy, was I wrong again because like at breakfast, Matt immediately brought up that, hey, I'm being framed as a traitor. Like, why would I give it to Ross who's trying to banish me? And then Jade all of a sudden was like, maybe it's a double bluff. And that chaos already like worked into Rachel's plans. Like, she is such a genius. And then post breakfast, when they were having a private chat in the room, Matt, Faraz, Roxy, and Jack were basically talking about Jade and James being suspicious and being a traitor. And in my mind, I'm like, wow, like, even at this point, like, Rachel and Steven are still really just flying under the radar. Like, they are so awesome together. And and another point for me was that I still am having a hard time remembering Jack, like his name, because like he's not really making much of an impact. Like he's just there, but not really doing anything, haven't really done any moves. So I always forget his name. The mission for me wasn't that interesting this episode, but my favorite line this episode came from Faraz in this mission saying that it was definitely more unfair than a fun fair. And then back at the mansion, things are starting to get very interesting, and I think it was starting to be a turning point because Roxy started questioning Steven and Rachel because she kept thinking, they're my two closest allies, and I feel like I need to start thinking about what that means for me, why I'm still here, and she actually straight up asked Rachel in a group setting, like, why are you keeping me here? And I think that caught Rachel off guard. And even though Roxy kind of believed what Rachel's answer was, I feel like the other people on the group started thinking as well and started having doubts of whether maybe they should also start questioning Rachel because they started panning onto like James's face and he looks confused as well and shocked by by Roxy's question, and I feel like it made him think as well. At the round table, like Rachel's game plan was really in full effect. You can see the chaos that it brought, like all the confusion between Matt and James. It brought so much chaos to the point that people even forgot about Jade at that point. Like it started with initial suspicions at Jade, but when all that dagger situation got brought up again, like everyone was just focusing on Matt and James at that point. And Stephen was very good at the initial start of the round table and keeping quiet and laying low, but then he kind of like started talking again towards the end, and I feel like it was kind of a bad game plan because I feel like it casted suspicion again or like focus back to him when he was already good in laying low. Like it felt very unnecessary, especially when he brought up what Matt brought up in saying that, hey, you said that if I voted for you, it would make me look suspicious. And even though that wasn't the implication for Matt, Matt was basically saying that it means that there's a traitor voting in that vote. It was very weird to bring that up. Like I feel it was very unnecessary gameplay. So ultimately, the traitors got what they wanted. The game plan worked out so well, and Matt got voted off. James's reactions and excitement when Rachel voted Matt was so funny to see. But at this point, I feel like he's pretty much screwed for the next episode until we get this next bombshell. The real drama happened right after banishment at the library. the library bomb. Like Faraz dropped a huge bomb, saying that he thinks it's Rachel, and wow, that is a huge turning point. And he finally unraveled the spider's web, bringing up very amazing points, saying that hey, like the fact that Fiona did a one-on-one with Rachel to like start accusing her when Fiona never really did one-on-ones was a very good observation, and then he called it out as a traitor on traitor. Then he also brought up some other things, and it was such a big like eye opener to the other faithfuls in that room. It was crazy. And even you can even see Roxy like getting so confused, like, wait, you just dropped that bombshell when I never suspected anything, and she was like getting her head so mixed up. And then the crazy thing is, then he went to the other room where the Rachel and the other faithfuls were left, and then he dropped another bombshell, saying that he thought it's Jade and Steven plus Rachel. So it's crazy because he's the first faithful to like bring up both Steven and Rachel in the same conversation as a traitor suspect. And it's huge. Like he nailed it except for Jade, but like to have both of them in his three person list says so much. And to call out Rachel while she's there, it really took Rachel off guard, and you can see like she didn't know how to react. She looked so pissed, and it seemed like it became like Rachel's unraveling as well because because of the fact that she didn't know how to react. Like how she responded seemed kind of like out of character for her. And now all of the faithfuls are now suddenly like have Rachel on their radar. And I love that Faraz even made a joke when the bell chimed to end the night that telling Rachel in the group setting, hey, don't murder me tonight. So I think what Faraz did really put a clouded Rachel's judgment pretty much because even at the turret, made the biggest wrong move that she's done, and that's in telling Steven that at this point, don't expect us to stick up to one another at this late in the game. And even Steven was so shocked, like it also raised alarm bells for him to like, hey, I need to start looking like looking up on what Rachel's doing because that because what Rachel said basically means that hey, even though you might not vote for me in banishment, you basically just said that you might be throwing me under the bus during discussions, and it is such a wrong move by Rachel because like Steven has been so loyal, and at no point was he thinking of like doing anything wrong to Rachel. Like Rachel should have just not said anything and like used it. Like even like he could have just like dangled Steven to with the carrot basically, and Steven would just be like following Rachel to the end. Like she didn't need to say anything, and now it's like Steven can't even trust her anymore. So Steven is now super wary of Rachel, very on guard, and like Rachel lost her biggest ally, and I feel like that's her undoing going forward. So now it's time for their murder. So my murder prediction for this is Roxy, and I feel like um, it makes the most sense for them to vote out Roxy at this point. First, because it's either Roxy or Faraz, because Jack has the shield, and at this point, Faraz calling out both Roxy and Steven is very suspicious, and murdering Roxy is basically like a sacrificial lamb at this point. It's because Roxy has already stated how much she trusts both Steven and Rachel. So murdering her, Rachel and Steven can use that next episode to say that why would we murder our biggest ally? Like it doesn't make any sense, and that would cause suspicion, and that's a way for them to point out Jade. Even though Jade kind of mentioned, even though Roxy mentioned that she also doesn't suspect Jade, but Jade is still, I think, on at the third of the list. Like it's still Steven, then Rachel, then Jade for Roxy. So I feel like with all the confusion that Faraz caused, like Roxy is their biggest scapegoat at this point, so she's getting murdered. What do you think? Like this has been such a turning point. It's so exciting. I can't wait to see what the next episode shows.